Welcome to AI TV. We're broadcasting here today from Cape Town, and I'm joined by Megan Yates, who's the CTO of Zindi. Welcome, Megan.
Thanks very much for having me, Nick.
So tell us a little bit about what you do at Zindi, and what is Zindi?
So Zindi is a community of African data scientists solving really tough challenges. They come together and work on a challenge, and there's a live leaderboard, so a very, very vibrant community solving really big challenges. So anything from traffic to satellite images and crop detection, right through to fraud detection. So really like very wide range of problems and industries. But I think what's great is like this whole community from so many countries across Africa coming together on Zindi. That's what it's about.
Yeah, look, I mean, I know everything about you guys in terms of, you launched last year at AI Expo, which we're really pleased to facilitate, and it's been a big success, right?
Yeah, it has. So we are on almost 8,000 data scientists.
Wow, that many. Right.
Yeah, and growing rapidly. I think it's an interesting challenge because it's like this community, and it's this platform that you almost have to keep feeding, with functionality and content and all these things. So my role is actually leading platform developments at the moment for Zindi.
So, I mean, you're using the word community a lot, and obviously we're going to talk about that in this segment. I mean, it really is interesting that a lot of the news we hear around AI in the media is a bad news story, right? Job destruction, killer robots, end of the world, Terminator scenarios. But really what you're doing and what I'm seeing is actually the opposite. I'm seeing a growing community, a growing interest in this, and a hell of a lot of good stuff that can be done, and Zindi's a great example of that. I mean, what's your view on it? I mean, I wasn't even aware you got to 8,000. I mean, that's in 1 year, that's an amazing number of people. How many countries have you actually now within the African region got representation from?
So in 52 countries in Africa.
52?
Yeah.
And I think there's 54, right?
Yeah.
So
I think we're missing 1 or 2 at the moment.
Yeah.
I must double check which those are, but yeah.
But I mean, that is an amazing achievement in 14 months?
Yeah, about 14 months. Yeah.
Now, and I hear that one of the top performers until recently was in Tunisia.
Yeah. So it's in Tunisia, and now he's been pipped to the post by Oleyinka Fadahunzi from Nigeria.
Wow.
Yeah. So very, very tough competition. But I think, I mean, you mentioned that whole like bad news story, but actually like what we've seen through Zindi is so many amazing, talented people, in every country in Africa. And what we love about Zindi is it's a way for us to actually like showcase that talent, to actually see that these people are like, experts in computer vision and experts in predictive modeling, whatever the challenge is. So it's kind of been a way for people to actually say like, this is what I'm really great at. And I feel like there's coming from an academic background myself, there's kind of a lot of like scientists and mathematicians and computer scientists. And I think that before this whole space of AI, it was kind of like, all these scientists would go into industry, but often they'd feel a little bit lost. What we're trying to do is like pull all of these scientists together into like, one community where they actually, they can meet each other and collaborate. And so very excited. We've got quite a lot of functionality coming up in the next couple of months that we're quite excited about. But yeah, I think it's really a great story. It's like, how do people, come on? And I think more recently in Cape Town, so we ran a hackathon with Uber at Stellenbosch University. It's an Uber SANRAL challenge to look at predicting incidents on the roads. And what was amazing for me is some of the teams competing there, they came from all sorts of different backgrounds, and they didn't necessarily have PhDs and master's degrees in that, but they were so hungry to do well, and Zindi was a way for them to actually show that, without all those things, they have the talent to be at the top. And I thought that was just, it was just a really great story and great to meet them. And this is a way for like those people to come together. So we run a lot of hackathons across the continent. But then obviously there's this like very, very strong online component. Yeah,
I mean, as soon as you showed me this last year, I suddenly realized that this could open the door for so many young people, as you say, that not necessarily gone through the university academic traditional program, who've maybe been teaching themselves. Maybe they're not even at university. They're at tertiary college or even at school.
Yeah.
They can join these things from their bedroom, or they can go to a library and log on. If they're lucky enough to have a laptop and a Wi-Fi connection, you can get involved with Zindi, right?
Exactly. And so they can do that. And then what we're actually trying to do, and the gap we're trying to close, is that gap between all of those very talented individuals in a country and, you know, corporates and organizations and governments that are needing that talent. So, you know, from some of the work I did, you know, as a data scientist, like functioning and operating in Africa, it was kind of often speaking to organizations, they had this impression that there wasn't talent locally.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it was always like, you know, if we were speaking to somebody in Ghana or Nigeria, it was always like the default was always like go overseas and hire some like big fancy consultancy. And, you know, we want to actually show them that there's this amazing talent like right where they are. And I think what's really important in this whole like data science AI space is the local context is so important. So as much as it's like, you know, the tech skills and that, it's also really understanding and interpreting within that local context. So like if a bank's got a fraud problem, it's almost like, you know, some of the local knowledge is really, really helpful. So going and hiring an international consultancy doesn't always help you solve your challenge, you know. So it's like, where do you find the local talents and, you know, how do you actually access them? And so,
local is lekker, right? That's
absolutely,
the phrase here.
Absolutely, yeah. So we're hoping Zindi can kind of function in that space and just, you know, just be a connector for all of those people.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that's another amazing facet and a great good news story in the sense that someone who could be just operating on their own, who has an absolute passion for this subject, could solve the problem of a large corporate in their bedroom or in their house or in their library or wherever they happen to be, and suddenly enter the radar of that company through, not through traditional recruitment, not through traditional internship, and solve their problem.
Exactly.
Which is amazing, really.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, that's what I love. It's like, you know, you can be anywhere and solve like, you know, something to do with, you know, really, I mean, what we really want to do is solve big problems. You know, we want to solve problems around poverty and water and things like that.
Yep.
You know, that's what we're aiming for on the platform. But yeah, I mean, it's also just giving those people opportunity to solve the problem, and that's what Zindi's about. It's actually saying, well, like, here's the problem, and anybody can join and try and crack it. I think what we're also looking to do is start some competitions aimed at some younger people, so people that aren't necessarily so advanced in like tech skills, but they can still start, you know, understanding some machine learning concepts and start seeing like how they can actually solve them. And yeah, so just, you know, some more playful competitions coming up.
Yeah, look, I mean, you've maybe heard me use this phrase, the AI economic pipeline or the data science pipeline. You know, it has to start with young people at school. And we're seeing some of the stuff that's happening with Data Science Nigeria. You know, they've launched this book now aimed at young people at school.
Yeah.
Even if they find that an inspiration, that just stimulating their ideas and thinking around, hey, there's something I've never heard about. This could be my career. Zindi then gives them an opportunity once they've learned the basics to get involved. I think that's all joining that pipeline up really well. It's fantastic the work you're doing. I mean, just to wrap up, I mean, what's the future for Zindi? You're talking about new. I don't know whether you can tell us the secrets coming out of your development operation there. But I mean, broadly speaking, it's obviously exciting times ahead. What can you share with us about what's happening?
Yeah, so we've been experimenting with closing that gap between organizations and data scientists. So we've started, you know, from a lot of the competitions we've run, we started like putting the winners and, you know, even some of the top 10 competitors in touch with organizations.
Oh, right, okay.
And we've kind of been doing it a little bit informally, but I think we really want to kind of drive that and say that, you know, that we can show an organization that they have this amazing talent. We can put them in touch and we can kind of go right through to a successful hire.
So like proper, validated, qualified recruitment around a specific challenge. I mean, that's a very specific niche.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Right. So look, Megan, always a pleasure to talk to you, and we're wishing you well into 2020 and beyond with Zindi.
Great.
Sounds a fantastic initiative that you've got planned there with that recruitment functionality. And thanks for joining us here on AI TV.
Great. Thanks very much, Nick.